I'm Isaac, 31, and apparently the black sheep of the family. It's not a title I chose. It's one they started whispering after I stopped going along with their games. I didn't storm out of any reunion. I didn't get drunk at a birthday party. I just stopped paying. For everything. See, for a long time, I was the unofficial family bank. Need a rental car? Isaac can get it. He travels for work. He's got points. Booking a hotel for a cousin's wedding? Isaac can cover it. He'll write it off. The worst part? I actually believed them. I told myself it was just generosity, that this was what family does. Then came the cruise. It started casually, like it always does. Aunt Melanie dropped a message in the group chat. Thinking of a cruise next spring? Family getaway. Suddenly the chat exploded. Even the quiet cousins chimed in. Memes. Shirt designs. Polls about destinations. I saw it all secondhand, because I wasn't in the group chat. At first, I thought maybe I was just removed by accident. My phone had glitched before, so I texted my mom. Hey, what's this about a cruise? 3 dots. Then, oh, we didn't think you'd be interested. I stared at that message for 10 minutes. Not angry, just hollow. The same kind of hollow I'd felt when they told me I wasn't needed at my nephew's baptism because there were already enough uncles. The same hollow I got when I found out the family photos were taken, without me, during a weekend I'd been told was canceled. I texted back. I wasn't even asked. She left me on read. I didn't hear anything for weeks after that, until my bank flagged a large transaction, 14,000 euros. Cruise payment. It wasn't fraud. I recognized the travel agency, the same one we always used. The same account I'd used to book everything for our big Europe trip 5 years ago. Turns out, my dad never removed my card from the family account. I could have canceled it right then. I thought about it. But something in me, maybe the part that still believed they'd apologize, held back. Instead, I waited. The day they left, I didn't even know they were gone. No goodbye, no check-in, just silence. Until I opened Instagram and saw it. A sea of matching shirts that read Cruise Crew 2025. Aunts, uncles, cousins, even my godmother. Every generation was there. Every face smiling. Except mine. And then I got the call. It was my dad. Wait, you're not on the ship? I said nothing. Just breathed. He chuckled like it was a misunderstanding. You didn't miss the boarding, did you? You were supposed to meet at gate 3 with the others. Still, I didn't respond. My stomach was cold. Then a message buzzed through from my cousin Elise. A photo of the ship's dining hall. Table settings. 19 chairs. One of them had a name card, Isaac. A stranger was sitting there, smiling at the camera with a glass of wine in hand. Below it, guess the black sheep got the message. That was it. That was the moment something inside me hardened. I hadn't been forgotten. I'd been erased. They had planned to use me. Book everything under my account. Take the seat with my name on it. Let someone else enjoy the meal I'd unknowingly paid for. And they had the audacity to mock me for not being there. I stood up from my desk, walked to the window, watched the traffic pass in the morning light. Then I opened the travel app. I knew how it worked. The group reservation was in my name. That meant I had the authority. I could cancel the entire booking as long as they hadn't officially sailed. And they hadn't. The app gave a final warning. Are you sure you want to cancel this reservation? This action is irreversible. No refunds guaranteed. I tapped yes. 5 seconds later, it was done. I sat in silence. Not angry. Not satisfied. Just still. An hour passed. Then the calls began. And then a message from Elise again. What did you do? I didn't answer. Then came a string of voicemails, one more frantic than the last. Isaac, please, we're still at port. We can't get on without the booking. They won't let us back on. They're saying the reservation's void. Isaac, this isn't funny. People flew in for this. You're being dramatic. Grow up and fix this. Now, we're begging you. Just talk to us. But I didn't. I turned off my phone. Let the silence wrap around me like a blanket. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like the black sheep. I felt like the wolf. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. The air was still, heavy with that early summer humidity that makes everything feel slow and deliberate. I didn't reach for my phone. I let it sit on the nightstand, vibrating every few seconds like a wounded animal begging for attention. 84 missed calls. 43 messages. My mother had even left me a voice note, whispering through sobs. I didn't listen. Instead, I made coffee. Black. Strong. Sat down at the kitchen table and just breathed. I don't think I'd realized how much space they took up in my mind. Every decision I made, every vacation, every saved dollar, every free weekend was always weighed against them. Would Mom guilt trip me if I didn't visit? Would Dad expect me to split the bill again? Would Aunt Melanie forget her wallet and make a joke about how I made more money anyway? It had been a quiet suffocation for years. And now, the quiet was mine. Around 7:12 a.m., the front door rattled. Knocking, then more knocking, then fists. "Isaac, open this door right now." It was my father's voice, sharp and furious. Through the peephole, I saw him and Elise. Her hair was still damp, her face red with tears or rage, probably both. My dad was holding a manila folder. His mouth was moving fast, like he was rehearsing an argument he'd been saving since last night. I didn't open the door. Instead, I unlocked it just long enough to slide a yellow sticky note onto the glass. "Not your bank. Not your backup plan. Not your punching bag." He saw it. Froze. Elise stepped back like she'd just been hit. He knocked again. Quieter this time. "Son, we can fix this. It got out of hand. We didn't mean to leave you out." I didn't respond. I let them stand there for 10 full minutes. Then I heard their footsteps fade. Their car starting. Tires pulling away. And finally, silence again. A few hours later, my cousin Darren, one of the few I actually trusted, texted me privately. "Man, they're melting down. Half the family missed their flights home. Aunt Jan's trying to sue the cruise line. And your mom's been crying since breakfast." I didn't gloat. I didn't feel victorious. But I did feel something like peace. Not because they were miserable, but because I finally stopped apologizing for not letting them treat me like a wallet with a heartbeat. That night, I got a knock on my door again. Not my dad this time. It was my younger sister, Rachel. She looked nervous. She'd always kept her distance when things got tense. Too quiet to pick sides, too scared to make waves. I didn't know. "Isaac," she said quietly. "I swear. I thought you'd backed out." That's what they told me. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. I didn't say anything. She held up a canvas tote. Inside, my cruise shirt. Still folded. Still in its plastic. "They had this made for you. With the rest. They planned for you to be there." I raised an eyebrow. She swallowed. "But when I asked why you weren't in the group chat," Mom said, "he wouldn't care. He always ruins the vibe." There it was. The part they didn't expect anyone to repeat. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I took the tote bag, gently, and set it down beside the door. "I'm not mad at you, Rachel," I said. "But if you want to stay out of this, stay out of it." She gave a sad nod. "I get it. I do." And she left. I closed the door and locked it. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I booked a solo trip, just for me. No group text. No itinerary built around who wanted what excursion. A quiet retreat on the cliffs of Santorini, with nothing but a backpack, a camera, and a long overdue sense of freedom. And as I hit confirm, another message buzzed in from my dad. One line. "Please, if you won't talk to us, at least give us a chance to make this right." I didn't respond. Not yet. But part of me was curious what making it right even looked like to people who never thought they were wrong. I didn't block their numbers. Not yet. I wanted the trail. The proof. The desperation. The next day, the group chat I hadn't been invited to, Family Trip 2025, suddenly appeared on my phone. No explanation. No context. Just there. 19 people. A digital parade of relatives I hadn't heard from in months, maybe years, suddenly acting like I was part of the club again. The first message? A meme. A cheap, guilt-trippy cartoon of a broken bridge with the words, "Family. We can repair it, if we try." Then came the flood. Aunt Melanie texted, "We all made mistakes. Let's move forward, not backward. Love you." Uncle Darren texted, "It was a miscommunication, Isaac. No one meant to hurt you." Mom texted, "You're my son. That means more than money or travel or anything." Dad texted, "What happened shouldn't define our relationship. Call me." Elise texted, "Okay, yes, what I texted was mean, but you know I was just being sarcastic." Cousin Jared texted, "Come on, dude. It's just a cruise. Not like we burned your house down." Grandma sent a voice memo, softly crying, "You were always my favorite, Isaac. This whole thing is tearing the family apart." I stared at the screen, not typing, not deleting, just watching. The irony? They still didn't get it. It wasn't about the cruise. It wasn't about a seat at the table, or matching t-shirts, or even the money. It was about being written out, again and again, and expected to foot the bill anyway. It was about years of being invisible until something needed to be signed, paid for, or arranged. It was about learning to stop asking why I was always last, and instead asking why I still showed up at all. A minute later, a second group chat appeared. Just the siblings read heart. I'd never even known that existed. Rachel must have added me. It was smaller, quieter. Only 4 of us. Rachel, me, Elise, and our brother, Mark, who lived across the country and barely answered texts. Rachel, I'm sorry again, Isaac. For real this time. I believed Mom when she said you were too busy and probably wouldn't come anyway. I should have known better. Mark, TBH, I didn't even know the cruise was this week until they posted photos. Not surprised they pulled this stunt again. I got forgotten at Thanksgiving. Elise, can we please stop acting like this was some giant conspiracy? You could have just said something, Isaac. Instead of nuking the whole vacation. I finally responded. My first words to any of them since the photo. Isaac, you replaced me at dinner before I'd even said a word. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Seen by Elise. No reply. Rachel hearted it. Mark sent a thumbs up emoji. It was enough. 2 days passed. Silence again, blessed, clean silence. I went for walks. I cooked. I reread old books that still had sand in the spine from my last real vacation, 5 years ago. I didn't check the app. I didn't scroll. But I did get one unexpected letter. Handwritten. No return address. Just my name. The envelope smelled faintly of lavender soap, my mother's signature scent since I was a kid. The note inside was short. I know we crossed a line. I know it's not the first. But this family is breaking, and I can't hold it together without you. Please, come to the house. Just once. Let us explain. It didn't say, I'm sorry. It didn't say you were right. It didn't say we hurt you. But it said enough. And more importantly, it gave me an idea. I wouldn't go back for them, but I would let them gather. On my terms. So I sent one text to the original Family Trip 2025 group. Isaac, if you want to talk, come to the house Sunday at 3. All of you. One chance. You get 20 minutes. After that, I'm done for good. The typing bubbles began instantly. Dad, we'll be there. Mom, thank you, baby. Aunt Melanie, praise God. Elise, oh, this should be good. Grandma, I'll bring lemon bars. But what they didn't know was that I'd already been preparing for this. Because that house was mine. Legally. Fully paid off. Titled in my name for years. The guest list might have been mine too, but the rules? Those were about to change. Sunday came like a courtroom summons. I spent the morning cleaning, not the floors or windows, but the energy. I opened all the curtains, let the light in, made sure every chair in the living room was dusted and neatly spaced, like I was staging the house for a showing. Because in a way I was. I didn't cook, didn't light candles, didn't set out drinks. This wasn't a reunion. It was an autopsy. At 2:58 p.m., the driveway filled. Like clockwork. SUVs, minivans, a dented Corolla with 3 kids in the back. I watched through the upstairs window as they trickled in. Aunt Melanie, in another floral blouse that made her look friendlier than she was. Uncle Darren, who probably still thought this was a misunderstanding. Elise, chewing gum like she had nothing to prove. And finally, my parents, side by side. My mother held a glass dish wrapped in foil. My father had a manila folder under his arm again. They looked nervous. Good. At 3:01, I opened the door. No smile. No greetings. Just a gesture, a wave toward the living room. Sit. They filed in, murmuring. The air felt strange, like a classroom just before a test was handed out. I waited until every seat was filled. Then I closed the door, locked it, and walked to the center of the room. 20 minutes, I said. That's all you get. They stared. Some looked at each other. My dad cleared his throat. Son. No, I cut him off. Don't start with that word like it still means what it used to. You don't get to lead this. He sat back down, stunned. I turned to the group. Before anyone speaks, I want to read something. I reached into my back pocket and pulled out a sheet of paper. It wasn't long, just a list, but it held years. November 2019. You asked me to pay the deposit on Mark's wedding venue. You said I'd be reimbursed. I wasn't. A few people shifted in their chairs. March 2020. You used my credit card for the family cabin trip without asking. When I brought it up, you said it was easier this way. My mother looked down at her lap. August 2021. I was told I wasn't really needed at the family barbecue because there were too many people coming. I found out later the guest list was over 40. Aunt Melanie opened her mouth, but I held up a finger. She closed it. December 2022. Elise posted a photo caption, "The Real Family Christmas." I wasn't in it. Elise rolled her eyes. "That was a joke. You can defend it later," I snapped. "Let me finish." I folded the paper and tucked it back into my pocket. "I'm not reading this for pity," I said. "I'm reading it so none of you can pretend you forgot. None of this was an accident. This was a pattern." And the cruise. I looked straight at my father. "That was the final test. You left me off the list. Off the group chat. Off the ship. But not off the bill. And then you acted surprised when I canceled it. Like I'd ruined your fun." Mom finally spoke. Her voice was trembling. We assumed you wouldn't come. You're always so distant." "Distant?" I laughed, a sharp, joyless sound. "You mean tired? From paying for everything while being treated like a footnote." "You never said anything," she shot back. "I shouldn't have to," I said louder now. "I shouldn't have to beg for inclusion in the family I help keep afloat. I shouldn't have to remind you that I exist unless you need a credit card." A long silence followed. Then Elise crossed her arms. "So what? This was all about money." I stared at her. "No, it's about respect. And you lost mine a long time ago." She scoffed. "You could have just said no instead of blowing up everyone's vacation." I stepped forward. "I did say no. You just never listened. You heard no as try again later." Aunt Melanie jumped in, her tone falsely sweet. "Let's not forget we're family. We've all made mistakes, but isn't forgiveness part of that?" "Funny," I said. "That only comes up when you need something." I walked over to the small side table by the TV, picked up a slim black folder, and turned back to them. "Which brings me to this." I opened it. Inside is a notarized notice stating that effective immediately, you are no longer authorized to use any account, travel service, or reward point under my name. The joint bank card has been closed. The shared airline mileage plan? Erased. All linked payment methods? Gone. I handed the folder to my dad. He took it with a stunned expression. "I didn't come here to scream or cry," I said. "I came to end this." My mom's voice cracked. "We can change." "No," I said. "You can't. And that's okay. But I don't owe you another chance to hurt me just because we shared DNA." Grandma finally spoke. Her voice was thin, trembling. "What do you want us to say?" I looked at her, the only one whose gaze held genuine regret. "Nothing," I said softly. "I don't want words anymore. I want distance. I want space to build a life that doesn't revolve around being forgotten." Mark, who'd sat silent the whole time, suddenly stood up. "I'm staying," he said, voice clear. "I felt this too. I just didn't have the guts to say it." He walked to my side. The room shifted. Everyone else just watched. My father stood. "Isaac, don't do this." "I didn't," I replied. "You did. I'm just finishing it." I walked to the door, unlocked it, opened it. "You're free to go." They stood up slowly, like it hadn't fully registered. Like they were expecting some last-minute twist, a hug, a laugh, a just kidding. But there wasn't one. They filed out. Some murmured goodbyes. Others avoided my eyes. Elise was the last. She paused in the doorway. "You'll regret this one day." I met her stare, calm and unflinching. "No, I'll regret waiting this long." She left. I closed the door, locked it again. Mark turned to me. "You really mean it?" I nodded. "Yeah." He exhaled slowly. "So what now?" I looked around the quiet house. "Now," I said, "we start over. With less noise." That evening, we opened a bottle of wine, talked like brothers, laughed, planned a trip, just the two of us. No matching shirts, no group chats, no hidden strings, just peace. A week later, I got one more message from Rachel. I left the group chat. "Proud of you." I smiled, finally feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Free.